How do you make a successful career in VFX in 2025?
I don't know who wants to join the industry because you can only hear the bad stuff that's going around. So. I'm currently a senior cinematic artist at Epic Games. I started as a PA on Game of Thrones. We are in a bit of a difficult period in the industry in general, obviously. I don't see any better way of getting into the industry than just doing the best work possible in your own time. Demo reels, they don't have to have 6-7 different clips of animations. You can have one short film, find the emails, send it.
What's a harsh truth about the VFX industry that people don't want to hear?
Young animators are coming with such a distorted truth of what they're coming into. When you're working professionally, you're not working on stuff that you love. The first version is the most exciting version because you have all the freedom, and then you have 2 weeks of versioning up to version 157, which is shit.
Is there any other advice that you can give somebody?
Never question your supervisor when he tells you to do something. Just say, no problem, I'll do it.
Just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick again.
This is super exciting because you, Miran, you was the first guest on the show. It's kind of like a full circle moment. I said earlier that we're now doing an in-person podcast, which is really exciting. So thanks for coming down from
I'm man. Super happy that we got to this point. But it's so nice to see you guys doing so well with all the stuff that you're producing. Like,
thanks, man.
At the beginning, I was sending links to my colleagues. Now my colleagues are sending me links of your show. So you have amazing guests.
That's amazing, man. You from early days, Miran, was kind of like, you'd push and kind of give us that little nudge.
I remember watching DVDs, figuring out what the artists did and how they did it. And I always wanted something in depth from the people who created the magic on screen to speak about it. And not just about work, but everything around work. So that's why this is such an interesting concept that you guys are doing. So.
What is it that you would say is important about these type of conversations? Like speaking with people in the industry, like you say, it's not just work, it's kind of like life as well.
Yeah.
And these people are doing work in their own time.
Especially because everybody does it in their own way. And just figuring out what that way is inspiring, right? Everybody uses different software. Everybody uses different terminologies, the way they think, and just hearing about every individual, how they do stuff they do.
The reason why we got you on in the first place was out of curiosity. Like, I saw that animation that you did, the Spider-Man one. I know you from industry, friends on Tom and Jerry, and we went from there. And then it was a genuine, I want to know how he did it. Should I just call him up or should I just message him? Like, why don't we just have a conversation? And that was the podcast episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a great conversation.
I'm currently a senior cinematic artist at Epic Games. Actually, I started as a PA on set on Game of Thrones, then switched to VFX department on Star Wars Episode 8, and then I switched to PREVIS and PostViz, where we met, and that was an unbelievable experience. And in 2020, there was Unreal Fellowship. I never touched Unreal before that. We got paid to learn the software for 4 months. I had an amazing boss at that point who gave me a month off to pursue this. Paul, thank you.
Yeah, big shout out.
And then, doing that fellowship, you had to create your own short film in 4 weeks. I did a good job because Epic Games called me and offered me a job, which I only took 2 years after because I loved working for Paul and we were in the middle of the Jurassic World at that point, so I didn't want to leave. Then I switched to Epic, where I worked as a technical artist and progressed to being a senior cinematic artist.
How did you get that role on Game of Thrones out of interest?
It's interesting because I'm coming from a small town, Dubrovnik, which is a huge tourist city, and everybody knows everybody there, right? Game of Thrones Season 2 came for the first time in Dubrovnik, and I was finishing my master's degree, so I couldn't go and work for it, but all my friends worked on it. So when I heard that they're coming for Season 3, I immediately called everybody that I could and, hey, can I get any position there? And obviously the entry position on any set is a PA. That's an amazing job because you work in the middle of the set with actors, with the crew. You're giving them water, you're cleaning the garbage, but you're in the middle of it.
And there's conversations that can be had. There's faces that you remember. There's
exactly. You can listen in to the DOPs talking to directors how to do the shot. You're just standing behind it,
With your notepad going, hold on, that's a great, I'll take that.
With the garbage bin. So yeah, that's how I got. And I was extremely lucky because I just studied animation and I love film. And then I get Game of Thrones to come to my city. And then year after Star Wars comes into my city. How crazy is that? But in Star Wars, they called me in. They said, we have a trainee position for special effects. Oh, amazing. But do they have maybe anything in VFX? They said, oh, no, they didn't ask for that position. So I happily said, special effects, I'll take it. And month after, the same person calls me, oh, they've asked for the trainee VFX. So do you want to do it? You can take it, but you need to find somebody else to take your job.
Oh, really?
So I had to scramble and call somebody who I really trusted to get my position. Yeah. And then I got my VFX role. And I was dropped in the deep end as a VFX trainee. I was with the VFX supervisor and lead data wrangler, helping him do everything. So in those few weeks, I've learned everything about data wrangling. So that was unbelievable. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm sure my first role was a trainee VFX artist on the card that was my name.
What project was that?
That was on a stop motion film called Pirates in Adventure with Scientists, then in Bristol. So stop motion movie from Aardman.
With Aardman?
Yeah, but I was getting into an industry. I didn't know PREVIS was a thing. They were putting me in different departments, but the title was trainee VFX artist. They were training me to do something.
But you did everything, right?
I tried everything, yeah. There was like scanning assets and going into the different departments, and then I sat in a room with Paul, and that's where I met him. That was the PREVIS team. And then it was
that's where you met Paul.
Yeah. So there was like 4 of us. Paul was the supervisor. He had his own company at the time called Destroy Monsters. The first day he would say, do you know how to put a camera under a locator and then offset locator? I was like, nah.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
That's kind of like what we want to talk about today, what people should be doing in the industry, how to navigate the space. It's a crazy time at the minute, I'd say the industry is, of course. But I've got a question about if you were to start in VFX today from scratch, 2025, what would you say is this kind of a smart move to start the career path?
How do you get into this business, first and foremost? That defines you a lot. And do you go study? What do you do before coming? I think that's a really crucial point. I do still think that it's important to go to college, finish your degree, just because it gives you such a wider perspective on stuff. You don't have to specialize if you want to work in VFX. You don't have to just go and learn how to animate or 3D model, and you can do that without a college degree. But what college gives you is so much more. In my example, I went to Art Academy, and I had to paint, I had to draw, I had to sculpt, and I had to animate. So you are developing your eye and sense of what works, what doesn't, what's good and not in general. And then that apply to whatever field you want to go into, be that animation, VFX, or whatever. Just learn what your eye loves and likes, get high standards of it, and then you can apply that easy to your work. I don't see any better way of getting into the industry than just doing the best work possible in your own time, doing something that you really, really believe in, that's going to show up on screen, and then somebody who's looking for a good artist is going to pick that up easy, especially in our country and in London here. There's so many shops, VFX, people who are always looking at good talent. We are in a bit of a difficult period in the industry in general, obviously, but those places are always looking for bright new talent. Like even demo reels, they don't have to, if you're an animator, you don't have to have 6-7 different clips of animation performances. You can have one short film that's 30 seconds long. For the recruiter or the soups, if they see that works well. But if it's really, really good, it's all that matters.
There's the people that go to like college and university, which is great, of course. And then there's the people that manage to kind of like self-teach themselves and maybe, leave school and get into, developing their eye and creating work in their own time. And I say an example of that, which one of our past guests, Jess Wiseman, and I always seem to mention Jess Wiseman because she's an incredible artist.
She's a great guest. Yeah.
She's self-taught blender artist. She's worked with big brands. So there's that pathway as well. And it can work, of course. I mean, I guess it's the industry, but I think she's navigated towards the more, commercials, brands, and building her own brand as an artist,
right.
Which I think is an interesting path as well to take.
People like her, they're going to find hobbies outside of just their profession to scale up. Like I always say, you have to be good at photography. You have to love photography in the VFX industry to understand it. So if you are shooting films, shooting Instagram reels, taking photography seriously, then you're upscaling your skills as a VFX artist as well. So everything that I mentioned, from sculpting, painting, and everything, I had to do it because I went to do it. But if I didn't go, I would find a way of doing these kind of stuff just to get more skills in. So maybe it's harder for people who are not going to college, but kudos on them for getting there and doing that on their own.
But I guess you have to have that kind of drive to just get off your own back and choose to do it. Whereas if you're at somewhere like college and university, it puts it in front of you.
Exactly.
Whereas if you're independent and you're an artist on your own, you have to know where to navigate and what skills to pick up.
But like you said, you have to have even greater drive, right?
Yeah.
And what we were talking about when you're 18 to 20, 22, like you still don't know much. What you want to do in life, how you want to do it. So that's why I think it's even more difficult not going one of these places where they tell you like, you're going to do this. So yeah, have a even bigger, better drive. I mean, that's for everything in life.
There's different ways to get into the industry. There's climbing ranks, starting as a VFX trainee artist, getting to supervisor level. Can you just touch on like what you feel like that path is becoming, in 2025 to work your way up from junior to a senior? Is it still the same as it was?
I always wanted to progress in my career, but I never had like my goals, like in a few years' time, I want to reach this or that. In my case, it was always best to concentrate on delivering the best job possible.
Yeah.
And then if you're confident enough that you did deliver, if you work for good people, good companies, they will reward you by progressing you through career, because they obviously want to see you progress because it benefits them as well.
And if you want to, because you might be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's an interesting thing in VFX, especially in PREVIS. I guess you noticed this as well. There's a lot of lead senior artists that don't want to go to supervising. They don't want to take supervising roles because the pay is better, but it's not that better to have all the additional work that you have.
There's a lot of responsibility on your head.
Exactly, a lot more responsibility for not that big of a pay increase. So you see a lot of people who are just lead senior artists for years and years and years. So, which is amazing for them. They found their sweet spot and it works for them, and it's great. It's all in your hands at the end of the day. And if you think that you're working for somebody who doesn't respect what you bring to the table, find somebody else, find other companies. And I had to do that, and I found Paul actually. So when I moved from third floor, we just finished the job on Rise of Skywalker. I was confident that I did an amazing job. I was expecting to go to a next level, and they didn't thought that. So a proof came knocking, and I accepted it. It was difficult because I went to work for Proof as a sole trader, so it didn't have a full-time job, which I had at third floor.
Yeah.
But getting out of that comfort zone helped me a lot, because I met amazing people at Proof who respected what I can deliver, and I progressed.
You get the best out of an artist or a team when you're, a nice person, when you're leading a team and you can not be a dick and they respect you, you respect them. Because we're going to be talking about crunch and working and kind of overworking, and there's a little balance, isn't there, where you want to work extra, but you don't need to, but you just want to give back to that supervisor that's kind of giving you that respect.
Exactly.
And you want to go, you know what, I'll get one more shot out by the end of the day. It's fine. I also want to, And they're not breathing down your neck going, can we get 10 more shots out today? Or that's not good enough, do this. Because you think, get off my back,
Yeah. But it so much depends in our industry who's your supervisor, right? if he's a dick, everything becomes so much worse. I didn't have so much crunch in my time working, especially PREVIS. There's always difficult days, but you want to deliver. But if you're working for a nice, genuine guy,
you don't feel like you're killing yourself.
Yeah, and you want to make him happy by like producing good work, because then his boss is gonna be happy. So it's gonna cascade down, and everybody's gonna have a better time working on it. So crunch exists, obviously, and it's a normal thing to do, but it depends so much how the person in charge sets everything up. I know we're talking about Paul a lot because both you and I know him, and we have experienced how good it can be when somebody can understand. Not just Paul, but Adam,
great
bunch, a proof. It's really, it's a human touch in the end of the day. Yeah.
And I always aspire to kind of take bits from like Paul and like Adam, like the like you say, the human touch, the human kind of elements of just being with people and like working in a team, you know. If
we didn't meet these guys or work for them, we would be lesser artists or supervisors, right? So luck that's the question. Do you have to deserve your luck? I mean, I guess you do, but it's always an element of everything, especially in this type of industry, being so up and down currently. So yeah, just do the fucking maximum you can do from your side, and something will come up, right?
Oh, definitely. I just want to put you in a scenario and see how you would deal with it. So right now, in like 2025, if you had no connections and you've just got your student reel, you've got your work, you've done these personal projects in your own time, how would Miran get into the industry today?
Right. I would choose the best 30 seconds or minute of my work that I have. And I would probably choose a short film, and I would find all the email addresses of all the recruiters, and I would find them on LinkedIn as well. And I would email them and message them with my reel. I would also create a website, buy the domain if I can scrape few.
Miran.com.
Miran.com. That was used, so I have to use Miran Dilberovic.
Miran1.com.
Yeah. When I bought the domain, I had no money, but I spent the last money on my domain because I always felt that it's going to send a message to somebody on the other side. And it worked for me. So create a website, have the work on the website, find the emails of the recruiters and all the companies, send it. And if your work is good, somebody will notice it and you'll get that beautiful email back. And, hi, Miran, I've just seen your email. Are you interested for a Zoom call?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you're like, yes, I'm in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Pumping fists. Yeah. It's... If you do the job, so you always get the rewards back, like anything in life. So you will get it. If you're starting fresh, you will get it if you're confident in your work and your process.
If you were putting together a team and you were receiving that type of email, what would you look for? Because you could get 10 really great reels, but what are those little things that you can imagine like that's going that extra mile, or there's something there special about this application without seeing a face, and before you see them in person, you can kind of tell sometimes?
I think for me, it's what did that person do in this? If it's a short film, for example, did you just animate it? Did you just light it? What did you do? So if the person that sent it says that he did most of the stuff, even though the animation is not the best animation possible, but the camera work is good, the lighting is good, if a recruiter or supervisor on the other side can see that you actually are handling more than just one thing, and they can rely on you not just for one singular thing, it's always better. So, but obviously that depends. If somebody wants to just be an animator, just do the best fucking animations you can do. And how do you know what's good and what's not? Just go and look at Pixar, Aardman, anybody. That's the highest level. Try to reach any level that's close to that, and you'll get the results.
What about those kind of like soft skills as a person? And I say that because we put a job ad out recently, and we had plenty of people like message and things. And there's certain things, maybe they address you by your name and they go a bit more into detail and like care of just the way they present the email. Some people we have emails saying, hi, here's my reel, here's my number, see ya. And to me, I think, they might be incredible.
Right.
They might be amazing, but there's something else about somebody that's gone, right, I'd looked at your website. I like the culture of you guys. I noticed that you've got a podcast and all this stuff. So there's certain like soft skills and like that people do, not just like outside of the showreel piece?
I would just say, like, don't write an email and send it to ChatGPT to make it better and send that email. Because you want to see the character through the email, even through the grammar issues and stuff, the way you phrase something, keep that in when you're sending these types of
To
emails.
be more human.
Instead of just making a perfect sounding email, which nobody actually cares about. So yeah, those soft skills, showing your character through that. And one of the things I've been told on set at the beginning is I think it's a soft skill, but it's super important soft skill, is never question your supervisor when he tells you to do something. Just say, no problem, I'll do it. Even though sometimes for your ego, it's hard to accept it, especially when you're asked to do something that you've already done or think it's not necessary. Just say, yes, I'll do it, don't worry. That means so much for them, right? And that just helps you so much.
As a team, you want, there's a certain level of like, come on, don't be a dick. I'm just asking you nicely here.
Exactly. And if your supervisor is telling you to do something like that, he does not want to spend time explaining why he needs to do it.
He just needs to be done.
He has somebody above him who needs to deliver for him. So don't waste time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which happens a lot with younger people. Like, you think you're the fucking smartest thing around because look at me where I am. I'm 19 and I'm on set. Like, I must be pretty good that I'm here, but
You got a long way to go.
yeah, ego, man. Always keep your ego in check.
After working with Paul, when I went to work in London with his team, which was amazing, like it was like a little family. So everybody was just on the same page, and it was kind of like a room full of like just mates working on a project. And he was like, "Oh, can you come and do this?" Yeah, no problem. Like it was just there was
How much better is that, right?
Yeah, that was amazing. And then that kind of set my not expectation, but I just saw that picture and I was like, everywhere I go, I would love to just have this type
But
of
it
team.
did set your expectations.
But it did,
Exactly.
yeah, it did. And I was like, I will take from that, like now if I'm working with a team, I'll always remember to like that vibe and culture of like, just get along, and you want those kind of roles in the team that are kind of, they've got your back, you've got their back, and
Exactly.
you just get the job done, and it's pleasant.
So just be a good
Just be a good person, yeah. And I was always told at university, just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a
exactly.
dick.
Yeah. At
And
any
it goes a long
stage
way.
of your,
when
when you're starting out or when you're on top of it and you have hundreds of people underneath you, don't be a fucking dick.
Is there any other advice that you can give somebody on a personal level? Like, be good.
Yeah, I think one of the things is just have more stuff in your life than just your work and your profession. Like, even when you're talking to somebody at your work and on your downtime or during the lunch, if you can talk about football, Formula 1, just have more stuff in your life than just your work. It's going to make you a better person and a better coworker at the end of the day. So, and it's not healthy, I guess, if you're fixated just one thing.
Because I know that you do a lot of, you go traveling. If on the weekend you can get away from work, you'll go and play tennis and skiing and traveling, snowboarding.
I love driving and I love to travel everywhere with my car because you always make a road trip out of it. This is a good thing about it. It's not about the destination. It's about to.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
They say all the time, it's not the destination, it's the journey. But
it's the journey. And that's why this show is great because it's called the VFX process, which is the most important thing about it, the fucking process that we go through. So I'm now pivoting a bit, but it's difficult when you're working in CG and come home and work on something
it's difficult,
privately on your own time because you're just spent, right? But every time you do it, you enjoy the process of doing it because you're chasing the end product. But when you stop and figure out, fuck, I'm actually enjoying this. And because I'm enjoying it, I'm doing it.
When someone comes home from work and they want to work on their own project, we speak to people on the podcast all the time, of like, why do they do it? What drives them to do it? And a lot of them just seem to say, I just love what I do and I just can't help but want to do more.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And for us, we are dealing with like recreating reality. Not just in technical point of view of making something real or good looking, but it's about conveying the emotions. I want to create something funny, but I also want to make it look super realistic. How do I achieve that? And that thought process is making me excited. When you're working professionally and not working on stuff that you love, that you want to do. So you need to have an outlet to get stuff out of your head, and that's when you can do it, basically. So even though we all worked on crazy cool projects, crazy movies that we did, but we were doing shots and getting notes that was like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. But then you get home and you just want to do something that's 100% you.
You know, can you just fix this shot? Can you fix that? Yeah, great, love it. And it's satisfying to get it done. And, you know, the supervisor's happy, especially if you work well with the supervisor. You just want them to go, that looks great. I'm happy with that. That means so much, doesn't it, as an artist, you know?
Even though it's version 157.
Of course, yeah, or more, yeah.
And the interesting part is anybody who wants to become like previous artist or something, is the first version is the most exciting version, because you have all the freedom from the script or storyboard. And then you have 2 weeks of versioning up to version 157, which is shit and bad. But then version 158, which is a final one where your supervisor goes, yeah, that's it, means so much. You just feel part of the team, right? Because when you see your stuff on screen, like you've designed those shots, that's my shot. But it means a lot, and that's why especially PREVIS is so rewarding.
Especially when you put an idea forward and then your supervisor goes, yeah, that's great, I'll put it to the director and then we'll see what they say. You get that opportunity to just try something. I think this will look cool, I'm just going to put it out there. If they want to submit it, they can send it. If they want to show it, they can. If not, that's fine. But at least I had the opportunity to do it.
Especially if we have this shot, we don't know it's going to work, please do it. You do that shot, but then you do your own version of it and submit both of them in the same time period that you've been asked to do one. That's where you get all the bonus points, because maybe they're not going to take your version, but at least they know that you're capable of doing something and delivering them options that I can choose from. So that's one of those things that helped me a lot when I figured it out. Let me give my extra 10% and do this just in case. I was working Fast 10 as my last job before I switched to Epic. And on my last day, Daph was supervising. And I just, I wanted to do the last shot and be happy about it. So it was a close-up of Vin Diesel driving, but he's like super anxious and he's going to jump through the water barrier thing, whatever. And how do you animate his face in few keyframes and
with a low rig, like limited rig?
Exactly. And I did a version of it, and then just for shits and giggles, there was a animated material of raindrops. So I've duplicated his head mesh, constrained it back to the original bones, and applied that rain material of drops going. So it looked like he was riding, but he was sweating as fuck, like just. And I submitted that as my last shot, and Daph was crying, laughing, and told me that's fucking super funny. How did you do that? Yeah. I explained it to him, but it was just a nice way of saying goodbye to proof.
Yeah, going that extra.
Amazing. I wish I had that shot still. It was just pouring sweat.
And you think that showing that, not initiative, but showing that you've got more to give makes the other team members and the supervisor go, that was a great idea. Here's another shot. Just see what you do with it. You can get things on your plate because you've gone that a little bit further, you know.
I'm super competitive as a person. I love sports and love competing and I know on Maleficent, I think it was on Detective Pikachu. We had this amazing artist, Tiago something, and he was delivering amazing looking shots. Just that lit the fire under my ass nobody did, because I wanted to compete. I wanted to be better because I know I can deliver it. Yeah. But this guy was doing amazing fucking shots, and it made me such a better artist because of that moment. I just upskilled my lighting skills. I was looking, why does his shot work so well? And I could see small details like how he edge lit the characters and added a bit more keyframes in previous shots that you don't need to, but it exaggerated the poses and everything. It just works so well, and it's super important to be mindful of those kind of things. If there's people around you, that guy was on the same level as me. So he was not a senior guy, but he taught me so much. So don't be like, no, who the fuck is he? He's the same mid artist as me. Like, what can he teach me? But yeah, he can actually.
Would you say the same for, I guess, social media? You should compete, but not kind of compare your work. You can just like take inspirations. If someone's doing incredible work, don't go, oh, I'm not going to post anything. Just see what you enjoy from it and just try and take from it and just apply it.
Like I said, I'm competitive. I'm always going to compare work. It works for me. It does not, maybe it's not working for somebody else, but I'm always going to compare.
But it won't put you off from posting. It will only make you go, I can do better than that.
Yeah, I'll post it when I make it better than that. And that's when I'm going to post it. And that upskills me. And I always said, like, if there's somebody around my age who's doing a better job, it just shows me that I can do a better job. Because in any field of anything, maybe that's not the best advice for everybody, but it works for me. Competitiveness in me just helps me a lot. So I do compare myself with other artists, other work.
But it don't stop you from like, I'm not good enough, because it's the imposter syndrome a lot of people have. An artist that we had on, Nico, he says that, don't compare your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 15.
Exactly.
And things like that, which is so true. And when he said that, it's kind of like makes complete sense, because you start your journey here and you can't expect to start where somebody else has been up there because they started at some point,
Our industry is not that hard. It's not that hard to deliver good results. Let's be honest, because you have so many influences around you and work and movies and history of films that you can always copy. Yeah, learning animation after 15 years, you'll do the same animation you did 15 years ago, but you're going to do it in a fraction of the time. You're going to be faster. But today, if you're starting out and you've learned Maya or Unreal Engine, in 3 months' time, you can get amazing fucking results.
All the filmmakers are kind of like looking at other reference videos and kind of putting things in here, like Blade Runner inspires this shot, and, it happens all the time.
Quentin Tarantino, he has built his own career because he's such a film buff, and he copied everything that he could and put it in one film. There's not much new in his stuff. It was just all the mix, because he's such a fanatic he knows all the references. He knows everything, and he managed to create, in the end of the day, his style. But his style is full of other people's things.
Yeah, definitely. I used to, there was a newspaper every a day in my household, and there'd be like little cartoon strips that people would do. And for some reason, I would remember just sketching over them and kind of like make it my own. And I used to go, Mom, look, is that cool? And she'd go, yeah, that's cool. And I would just think, that's cool. I've done that, but it's not mine. It's, I've just overlaid it, but I've kind of like tweaked it to make my own.
Do you still have one of those?
No, I haven't, but I used to do them all the time. And I don't know, probably when I'm older, Mum will go, I've kept all these in a book.
I love you, Mum.
I doubt it, but yeah. Miran, this is a topic to briefly touch on. If you could change one thing about how VFX operates today, what would it be?
It would be much better if we, in our industry, if we had more females, obviously, because it would balance everything out. We would have less dicks and less people who are really not behaving correctly. But it's, I guess, need to give them time, and the times are changing, so we are going to get more and more of it. But yeah, what do you think needs to change in the industry?
We mentioned it briefly earlier, crunch culture. It's just always something that, it grinds people down a lot of the time. They think it's normal. They think it's part of what should be. So it's not always just one answer. Like, oh, you should work from 9 and you should finish at 5, because there's always like leeways, and it really depends. Right. Like we say, if you want to do an extra hour because you want to just get it across the line because you want to do it, is that crunching, or is that just you wanting to just go that extra mile? I think there's the different ends of what it looks like
exactly
in the industry.
And that's why it's super important. We always go back to it. Who's in charge of your department? Who's your leads? Because, that story about the first Spider-Man film from 2022, the last shot of Spider-Man swinging through the city. I read the interviews about the artists who did it, and they knew it was going to be the biggest shot of the movie. And it has everything from live plates, digital backgrounds, and a lot of character animation. The shot is almost a minute long. And they've crunched. But they're not talking about it like a horrendous time that they had. They had an amazing time. one said that he slept under the desk just to make sure that the shot works and he delivers it, because he knew what this shot represents, and he had a supervisor who was not pushy and making him feel bad if he doesn't crunch. So it was a perfect position for that group of artists to deliver something amazing and work 7 days a week. And obviously, if you work 7 days a week, 2 weeks in a year, it's not a big of an issue. So everything is about perspective and how you approach it.
The word crunch doesn't have to be a bad thing, like you just said. And I remember crunching a few times. There was this one particular job where we were crunching. We actually worked all through the night, but because we were the great team, it was actually quite fun. And it was 3 a.m. and we had pizza.
Right.
Like someone ended up bringing pizza in. And even though we're crunching, thinking, this is crazy. But thinking of it now, when you're saying it depends who you're with and what it's like, crunch can be enjoyable. It can be terrible. It really just depends. And like I say, it's different situations, different scenarios.
And then let's enjoy it while we watch it in a cinema full of other fans and see that it's fucking worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah. And especially if your supervisor's in the trenches with you as well.
Exactly.
You're all in there like, it's shit, but it's great at times, you know. Mira, can I ask you a question? It's kind of off on something else now, but is there any failures or setbacks in your career that has kind of ended up being a blessing?
I can't remember anything in a career-wise. It's more about your personal development and how setbacks personally in your life.
Which is important because there's a balance in of personal and professional.
Exactly, and that's how you then learn how to handle your professional career. But retrospectively, looking at all the setbacks that you had in life and the difficult times that you had to go through, and even though at times you think you're not handling it well, you're going to end up on the other side and you're going to learn a lot. And then you apply that professionally and in communication and anything. So I don't have any specifics like, oh, I did this demo reel and it went wrong, or I did this on set or somewhere. It's more just learning from mistakes, personal mistakes that help you a lot.
Is there anything that stands out that happened? I'm digging into it here.
Yeah. I had this thing. When I got here, when I started working for the third floor, I'm from Croatia, and Croatia entered the European Union 4 years and let's say 10 months. After the country is in European Union for 5 years, you have no issues working in other European countries. So I was working on the third floor. I finally found a stable job and my fiance was meant to come and join me and live with me in UK. She was still back in Croatia. And on the day that she gave her notice to quit her job, on the same day, I got email from HR telling me that I cannot come to work tomorrow. My contract is terminated because they didn't give me the proper papers when I joined the third floor. We should have gone through this visa process, which we didn't. So I had to go out of the country, go back to Croatia, unemployed. She's unemployed, and start the whole process through.
Did you go back to the third floor after that, or was that the end of that?
Yeah, I got back to third floor because it looks like I did a good enough job in those 3 months, so that they wanted to help me out with everything. So the job was waiting for me.
You was doing PREVIS with third floor. They're a previous company, of course. Did you see anything beyond that, or was it like, if I can get to third floor and work for my dream company that I want to work for, was that the situation for there, or did you see that there was like beyond that, or like a stepping stone?
Right.
Because that's like top for some people, isn't it? Like if I can work at the top previous company at the time, that's like my career done. Where do I go from there?
Yeah, that's true. I knew third floor because all of the making of behind the scenes of the prequel trilogy, and the third floor is called because of the office they had at the third floor at Skywalker Ranch. So third floor for me was a huge thing, but I never thought about PREVIS that much. I was on Star Wars Solo, working as a VFX data wrangler. It was a extremely tough shoot, 6 days a week, 14 hours a day at least. Okay, what can I do next? That's not being on set. I'm an animator. I know how to animate. I like directing. I always like doing my short stuff on the side. And I just had PREVIS is all of that. I remember being on set. One of the guys that was working with me, the VFX producer, he says, I know a few people at third floor. I can send your reel to them. And I sent them a reel with like all the best animation and shots that I had, but I also sent a short Star Wars film that I did, which is like a minute long. The supervisor there saw the short and he was impressed with the short, and Dave called me up, and just because of that short, because I could see the editing, the energy, stuff. That's why I always said like it can be a short, it doesn't have to be a demo reel. And that's how I got to third floor. Yeah, it was like I'm working for the guys who worked with George Lucas and Skywalker Ranch. Like it was special. Yeah.
So for you wanted to explore the previous world. You want to get into like filmmaking and storytelling because you've watched behind the scenes and all that stuff. Is it always in the back of your mind like, I want to get there, I need to speak to that person, or I need to show that person something? Like what advice would you give to somebody getting into the industry as a role, maybe as an assistant, and then get into maybe a previous role or another role?
For me, I always wanted to do my own stuff, shorts. I wanted to be a director. And then that bit changed to, maybe I want to be a VFX supervisor. So I always had those two things. So what's the path going through that? Obviously, when you get to work on set, you have so many people around you that can help you out. But to get in position to somebody help you out, you need to do your job properly so that they can help somebody who they trust that they can help. So it was obviously all about knowing as many people, doing the right thing, doing the right job. And when there's a slot for something to happen, use that slot. But you need to recognize there is going to be one and be ready when it happens. So, and obviously on top of all of that, like we've said so far so many times, a bit of luck. And third floor, maybe we're not hiring at that point or did not need any artists. They wouldn't choose me, but they were crewing up for other projects. So,
if you hadn't been doing your job, like to a degree that like they were trusting you, got Miran's like he's on it, like they wouldn't have kind of given that kind of opportunity because you showed that you've got potential drive.
Why would they recommend and put their ass on the line for somebody who they don't trust?
So you showed that first as a character.
To build it up. You have through your work, and you have to build it up.
Because you ain't just going to start the job, I imagine, and go, who can I speak to around here that's going to get I want to direct the next whatever. And everyone's going to go, this guy, what the fuck? But if you slowly show that, like, build that trust relationship up, and you go, do you reckon you could just show this piece of work to somebody? Exactly. And you go, what, hell yeah, like you broke your back for us to sort this thing out last week. I'll return the favour. So again, don't be a dick. This is like this is the perfect title.
No, seriously.
For the industry.
If you don't put "don't be a dick,"
it goes such a long way.
Next to it.
don't be one of these. Should we touch on AI?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
It's such a buzzword at the minute. Will AI replace certain VFX jobs, or will it create more opportunities? Because I always feel like there's a space for it. It's just people using it in different ways, different tools for certain areas. No one knows the answer yet. No one knows what's going on. It's a period of exploration, I feel, like on a mass level. Yeah. VFX industry is one of them that's obviously it's affecting. What are your thoughts on like tools and where it's going with AI?
Right. When we are talking about AI, it's not actually AI. Artificial intelligence is something else that we are so far from. We have this generative tools that are helping us, like easy rotoscoping in After Effects are new, right? That shouldn't be called AI tool because it's not an AI tool.
It's almost been coined that, it's AI doing that, but that's been around for a while.
But I would say even ChatGPT, is that AI? It's not conscious.
Yeah.
It's not artificial intelligence.
I know what you're saying. I guess it's a broad term, isn't it? Like just if you're saying AI tool, it's an AI tool, but there's so many.
But if you look at it as just a tool, we always know that tools are going to progress to speed up and help up with any process and any technology in any industry, right? So there's always going to be that. And you always going to need a personal touch on everything. So in our industry, I might think that there's not going to be many rotoscoping jobs as they are right now. It's going to be so less, and you have maybe just supervisors who are inputting the footage in. So definitely it's going to change.
Yeah, change
bit,
some like certain roles in the industry. And
exactly, because it's just automating the process. Now, my car is not being made by 150 people. It's being made by 5 to 10 people because it's automated. The process is different. So it's just one of those things that our industry is going through, as every other industry is. And obviously, if you're good at something, you shouldn't be worrying about it that much. So what I say to anybody, I have a few friends that are starting in the industry as well, and they're very worried about, I'm going to be a 3D modeler, but nobody's going to need a 3D modeler. Just don't fucking worry about it and do the best job.
Do what you do.
Even utilize these tools to create great stuff. Just at the end of the day, what your hand and your eye does is the thing that's most important. So
that's the thing, isn't it? When we said earlier, like you go to these schools and you almost learn the bigger vision of like what looks good, or the end goal. Not like, oh, I need to know how to model this exactly, because it's you can see the end goal and you know what you need to do to get to it.
So and you're creating something new, which can't be done with this, what we call so-called AI.
And I guess with other areas of the industry or life in general, if there's something else that can like press a button and do it, but you still want to do it.
Right. It's like you can get a fucking meal pack, you put in a microwave, press a button, you get a meal, you're going to eat it.
Yeah. But you still enjoy cooking.
Yeah, but but the thing is, you enjoy cooking, you buy the fucking ingredients, you buy something that you love, cook it, prepare it, eat it, and then you need to clean up after it. But it's the whole process that's actually fucking fun, and you spend 2 hours doing it instead of beep, beep, choop. And our audience, that's the life process that you're watching right now. It's not the VFX process, it's the life process that you're teaching.
It's so true, though.
No, but it applies to everything that we're talking about here. It fucking does. Like
100%. I've got some challenge the guest.
Can I turn the tables and then do the same to you?
We can do the same to me. Question is, what's a harsh truth about the VFX industry that people don't want to hear?
I think when you zoom out of it, you are sitting in front of your computer 8 hours a day, sitting on a desk in some kind of a cubicle, in some kind of an office, or even worse, in your home if you're working from home, which I hate. So I think the harsh truth is just you're going to do that to make sure that you know that it's that kind of a job, because you have this one life and you're going to spend most of it doing this. So for me, that's one of the things that I hate about what I do. The enthusiasm of new people coming into the industry, they want to think about it. They just want to succeed. So when you think about it, sitting in front of a computer, any job that you need to sit in front of a computer, it's not the best way to spend your lifetime, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sitting here on this chair and I'm thinking, my back's killing. So like, imagine doing it every day. I remember one time I was working with a guy and he sat on a gym ball, the gym ball things. Yeah. And he was really good on the ball. I thought, he's got great control there. Like, he's never fallen off that thing. This one day, he just left my peripheral vision. I just saw his legs go. Like that. And he was absolutely fine. He was like laughing, rolling on the floor. But
and then you could laugh as well.
That's fine. Another question, Miran, is what's changed the most in the past 5 to 10 years of the industry?
Oh, yeah.
I guess everything has changed.
Yeah, everything has changed with COVID, pandemic. And we never got back from it.
Yeah.
Our industry is still...
Yeah, it's definitely still recovering.
It's still recovering. Being in London is good because London is recovered better than some other places. The issue with that is we had this problem before, but the bidding process for these VFX companies are underbidding each other, which means more crunch time, less money, less artists and everything. And combine that with everything that we went through the last 5 years, from the pandemic to these strikes, actor strikes and writer strikes, it just has put the industry in real bad position, and not having the union is also affecting a lot of stuff. So there's not much job security with our industry. That hasn't changed. No, it's even worse now.
If you were to be getting into the industry now, and chances are you're going to be working remote, potentially, there's a high chance that you'll be working on your own in your house.
Find a job that you don't have to work remotely. If this is your beginning of your career, find a job that has an office you go to. You can talk to your colleagues, your supervisor, eye to eye. That's the only thing that I can say. But if you are in that position, it's just you need to work even more. You need to learn at a different rate, faster. You have to have more oomph to go and search this and that. It's
initiative,
just more initiative. Yeah.
You know, imagine if you're just sitting around kind of waiting for someone to speak to you. Like, that's not necessarily good. If you need to find out something, you've got to have that confidence and initiative to kind of, I need to ask this question, because it's such a different environment to like being in a room and you go, hey, can you just have a look at this sec? Some people might feel like, oh, I've messaged them like 10 times already. Like, are they going to be annoyed with me? It's a whole different way of navigating.
Different communication through the screen. And exactly what you said. Am I going to annoy them with this question right now? I shouldn't be asking way too many questions. Oh, it's such a terrible dynamic to have. And one of my things is, for anybody who wants to go into this, don't work remotely. Just don't fucking work remotely. It's not good for your career progress or your mental health, because if you have your workroom in your flat, well, you're gonna, after 6, you're just gonna open it, close it, and then you're still in your flat.
But I guess the reality is that there are chances that you will go into the industry and you will have to work remote, which is not ideal for many. Some people might like it, but
at least understand what this means.
Yeah.
Understand what remote work means and then adapt to it.
What's the biggest scam or bad advice circulating the VFX industry?
I don't know who wants to join the industry, because you can only hear the bad stuff that's going around. I was always under the impression that like young animators, especially coming in, are coming with such a distorted truth of what they're coming into. Like, imagine if somebody really is a great painter, loves to draw, and then he goes to the 2D animation. He learns like Glenn Keane style of 2D animation. Then he learns the 3D software to animate now in 3D. And then he goes and works on Lion King, Mufasa or something, which is soul crushing in some ways, because you are working on one shot for 2-3 weeks of eyebrow going up or down and this way or up. And you're not
almost pixel like.
Exactly. And you're like, so what I've seen from few people are like coming in fresh, enthusiastic. This is an art form that I'm going to work on and express through. And then it's more of a technical challenge at the end of the day. So there's less art, more technicality in it.
Yeah, it's the expectations of what it's going to be like against what the realities can be like at times.
Yeah. And the more you know about the realities through people who are in there and the friends who you have to tell you what to expect, there's a big issue of tainting your love for 3D when you go into this and you don't do what you thought you're going to do. You're 3D modeling, but you're 3D modeling something so strange and stupid, and you're not expressing yourself. So what you really love in life can be messed up because you're doing the wrong job. So,
like, I remember working with somebody like a VFX artist for a few years, and I was thinking, this person is so talented, so good at what they do, you know, super, got an eye for it, detail for it. And then suddenly LinkedIn changed careers, now property developing.
But isn't that beautiful to see in the person that it can change? It's like,
it can change.
Yeah. Even when a person changes his opinion on something, it shows intelligence.
100%. And you don't have to say like, oh, my job defines me. I'm a VFX artist and I'll be a VFX
Your
artist
job
forever.
should never
define you.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a great example. And you see it all the time, like people in the industry and people now are having to potentially think of like possible career changes because it's a difficult time. You see it on LinkedIn all the time. Artists saying, I've been in the industry for 25 years. I'm struggling for work for the last 4 years. I've got to feed my family and I've had to take a job at a local butcher's because I can't make next month's rent, for example.
Yeah, and I have to do anything to have food on my table. I'll do anything. So Jamie and Steve, as I'm curious, as this being the first in-person interview, and this has the VFX process has now been like, let's say 4 years.
I'd say so, yeah.
4, yeah. Give me your highlights.
Like any highlight moment is when you get a notification on your phone through the app saying, and someone says, well, saw this video this morning and it's made me want to do a short film. Like that's amazing. You know, just through that conversation.
You've done your job, right?
You've done that job, yeah. And that's why we carry on doing it. And people comment and say this, you know, I was scared to start this project, but then this conversation with this amazing artist has made me think, you know what, I can do it.
Yeah.
And that's a highlight, you know.
But it's super funny. It's called the VFX process. But most of us are watching and listening to these podcasts while we are in the process of doing our VFX. Mm-hmm. So and that's, for me, it makes that whole time even more special. Because you're I'm in my world now when I'm doing, either I'm home doing it for myself or at work being part of the big group, small part of the big group, and then I'm listening to somebody who's going through the similar things with me. It's just fucking amazing. So hey, you guys, sponsor this fucking podcast. Yeah, this can be you. Yeah.
So Miran, you've got 30 seconds to answer this. Can we get a timer on, Steve? Miran, how do you make a successful career in VFX in 2025? 3, 2, 1, let's go.
What?
There you go. What would you do?
Don't be a dick.
Don't
first
be a
and
dick.
foremost.
You could just repeat that for 30 seconds. There.
Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. Yeah. Don't be a dick. Open your eyes and ears up and listen and learn from people who know more than you. And you'll be surprised who those people are. You can find them all around you. And be as technically proficient as artistically proficient you are. You need both of these things. And
we got it.
And don't be a dick.
Don't be a
again.
Dick. You know what? I always find like, you know, surround yourself with people who are better than you and
smarter than you.
Yeah. So that's great because you're learning from others. Never go into a room and think, I'm the best one here. Like no one can tell me what to do. But you should be in a room where everybody can have a say and you can learn something and take something from it. That's a great space to be in.
Yeah. You be a fucking sponge, right?
Yeah. Ask the question and go, I want to know more about that. Like never feel that a question is dumb if you feel like you want to just gain a bit of information.
I always say when I have a question, I'm sorry, this is probably a dumb question. Because I always know that people are going to react differently because if I go with it because already knowing that it might be a stupid question, it helps me a lot. So I'm sorry, this might be a dumb question, but what does this thing do here? No, it's not a dumb question. Good, okay. And then I get the answer.
Everybody, thanks for watching the VFX process. The first one in person with the one and only Miran, the first guest that we had on the show back in 2020 something. And yeah, we hope you enjoy this type of content. We're trying something new. If you enjoy it, let us know. And we hope to make some more content like this. So thanks for watching. Miran, any thoughts?
Just thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Steve, for doing this. It's a very valuable piece of content that we have. Thanks so much. And let's have a beer.
Let's have a beer. Steve, you want to come and say something? To this camera. Steve, tell us.
Yeah. What can we expect in 2025?
More VFX process.
That's a wrap. Yeah, no, thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.